Six Flags Great Adventure stands as the second largest amusement park in the world and boasts a collection of 13 roller coasters. Actually, it'll probably be 14 by the time this video comes out. This collection sports a diverse variety of roller coasters, including the world's tallest coaster, North America's only prefabricated wooden coaster, an RMC Raptor, and the most B&Ms of any park in the world. This is no doubt one of my favorite parks to visit for roller coasters. This park has also seen many historic and iconic roller coasters come and go as well. I've been waiting for a while to do this countdown because I wanted to get the chance to experience Jersey Devil Coaster, so this list wouldn't immediately become outdated. I think there is a wide variety of opinions, especially for what the top 5 coasters in this park are and how they should be ranked, so my opinions may differ from yours, which is totally normal and should be expected from an opinionated video like this. Feel free to kindly voice your opinions in the comments below. Also, make sure to do me a huge favor by hitting that like button, as that helps me against the YouTube algorithm. If you like videos like these, make sure to subscribe as well for more countdowns coming soon. Now, let's drop into the list. Number 14, Lil Devil Coaster. Taking last place, we have the park's kiddie coaster, Lil Devil. This coaster technically hasn't opened yet, hence why I said 13, probably 14 roller coasters by the time this video comes out. But I did get to experience this coaster when it was called Roadrunner Railway back in 2019, so I know exactly what to expect. This coaster is a pretty alright kids coaster. It's a Zamperla gravity coaster, so that's about as basic as it gets. Still a fun ride for kids, just not the best. However, I do like the retheme. I like when parks theme their kids coasters to bigger rides in the park because I feel it serves like more of a future motivator for younger kids. Number 13, Harley Quinn Crazy Train. This is another family-based coaster from Zero, and it is a very okay ride. This coaster has a very long train that looks kind of odd, but it makes for a more forceful ride in the back. This coaster is pretty pleasant, so families can enjoy it together, but it's still a mild coaster. This coaster serves its purpose as another stepping stone for younger thrill seekers looking to work their way up to bigger coasters in the park. Number 12. Dark Knight. At the number 12 spot, we are taking a trip down to Gotham City for Dark Knight, an indoor mock rides Wild Mouse. This coaster doesn't really do much from a thrill perspective, as this is just a classic non-spinning Wild Mouse that you can find at a good amount of other parks. What sets this coaster apart from some other coasters like it is the theming. This coaster offers an awesome pre-show based on the Dark Knight movies, and the actual theming inside of the building that houses the coaster is decent as well, but nothing that impressive. Other than that, it's just a Wild Mouse coaster, so you know what to expect. Also, there's a loud horn toward the end of the ride, so watch out for that. Number 11, Green Lantern. The number 11 spot houses a coaster that most people dislike, but it has a few fans. That coaster is Green Lantern, the park's B&M stand-up coaster. This coaster has a bit of an interesting backstory, as it first operated at Kentucky Kingdom, but then was relocated to Great Adventure for the 2011 season. This coaster has a very good layout. That's the main positive with this coaster, but my gripe with this ride is that it features the same flaws that other stand-ups have. This coaster can cause headbanging and can be uncomfortable in another area of your body, especially if you are a male. This ride is actually pretty smooth on the track. It just puts you in an unnatural position, which makes it uncomfortable. I don't necessarily hate this coaster. I think it's worth a ride every once in a while, but overall it just doesn't really do it for me. Number 10, Runaway Mine Train. Kicking off the top 10, we have the park's classic Arrow Mine Train. This coaster is a really fun classic family coaster. This coaster sort of meanders around the woods for most of the ride, taking you on a bumpy yet scenic journey. Once you exit the woods, the ride kicks into high gear for a shocking finish. You'll be snapped out of your seat as you get a strong pop of ejector airtime as the train slams you back down over the hill over the water. You then go through a scenic turn as well. This turn is pretty rough, but it does make for a visually pleasing ending. Overall, Runaway Mine Train is a classic family coaster that I think everyone should try to experience. Number 9, Joker. Kicking it up a notch, we have Joker taking our number 9 spot. This coaster is a 40 free spin coaster built by SNS, and there are clones of this coaster all over the Six Flags chain. This roller coaster provides an extremely smooth and unpredictable ride experience. I think Six Flags made a good choice by choosing to clone this coaster over another kind of coaster because You get a different experience every time you ride one. This coaster is also a GP magnet as it sits right near the entrance, so it is a good distraction from some of the bigger and better rides of the park. That's not to say that this coaster is bad, it's just that this coaster is a pretty short ride experience and these can only be so good. Number 8. Skull Mountain. Skull Mountain is one of the more underrated coasters at Six Flags Great Adventure. First, the fact that this is indoors makes it that much more exciting and unique, and the facade is pretty good for Six Flags. The actual theme is pretty cheesy and doesn't really do much, but the ride itself is very fun. In any other row but the back, the coaster is a fun, fast-paced, intimate family coaster with thrilling turns. However, a back row ride kicks this ride up to the next level. The drop delivers some crazy ejector airtime, as well as one of the turns about halfway through the ride gives lateral ejector airtime, which is a very unique sensation that you have to try out. If that experience was offered in the whole train as opposed to just the back row, I'd probably put this coaster in the top 5. But for those looking for an extra kick out of this ride, definitely line up for the back row. As we move into the top tier coasters at this park, I'd just like to say that a lot of these coasters are extremely close, especially the B&Ms at this park. But with that being said, let's get into our top 7. Number 7, Bizarro. Bizarro is actually one of my favorite B&M floorless coasters. I'm not the biggest fan of this model, but this one seems to provide an enjoyable ride experience. This coaster features 7 inversions, including a 0G roll, which makes for a fairly intense ride experience. The effects on this coaster add a nice touch to the ride that you wouldn't normally see at a Six Flags park. This coaster does kind of have the sensation of a rattle in some spots, but it's overall a pretty smooth ride. One issue that I have with a lot of these B&M loopers is a lot of them just have the same elements but in a different order, so that does take away from the ride experience a little bit, but that's just me sort of nitpicking. All in all, Bizarro is a fun looping coaster that plays a nice role in the park's lineup. Number 6, Superman Ultimate Flight, the park's B&M flying coaster. I'm not a big fan of B&M flyers, but I do think that they are a unique gem for a park to have, especially as crowd pleasers. Superman has been cloned a few times throughout the Six Flags chain, and since this one isn't the original, it feels a tad out of place, as this coaster sits over like a grassy field near a parking lot. But talking about the ride itself, the pretzel loop legitimately makes you feel like your head is going to explode, which I know some of you like, but I'm definitely not the biggest fan of that feeling. I much prefer the graceful turns of this coaster and stretching my arms out and pretending like I'm actually flying. I also do enjoy the inline twist as well. Overall, I think Superman is another great supporting coaster for this park. Number 5, Batman the Ride. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really like this ride after my rides in 2019. I thought it was rough and uncomfortable, and I found myself just wanting the ride to end. However, when I hopped back on in 2021, my experience was a complete 180. Not only was the ride just as intense as I remembered it, it felt faster and smoother. For some reason, I must have caught Batman at a bad time for my first rides because my ride in 2021 had it skyrocketing in my rankings. Batman has the classic layout of all the clones, but this layout was a great choice to clone. All of the inversions have the perfect amount of intensity for my liking, and the ride just offers a lot of positive G-forces. I really appreciate Batman the Ride now, and I'm excited to experience more of the Batman clones soon. Now we're at the top 4. The top 4 coasters at Six Flags Great Adventure are pretty much set in stone for most coaster enthusiasts, but the order can be a massive point of discrepancy. So just keep in mind that all of these rides are great. Number 4, Kingda Ka, the world's tallest roller coaster. Kingda Ka is an awesome roller coaster. It features a great launch, a fun top hat, a massive drop, and a fairly decent airtime hill. Just about everything on this ride delivers the way it should, even more so in the front row. There are a few issues with this ride though. One of the main ones is the over-the-shoulder restraints that are required by New Jersey law, and the rattle that this coaster showcases on the launch. This coaster is also very short, but every second of your ride will deliver, so that sort of helps to ease the issue. Kingda Ka is overall a great roller coaster. The length and other small issues that I mentioned are the only things holding it back from ranking even higher on this list. Number 3, Nitro. Taking the bronze medal, we have another favorite of mine with Nitro, the park's massive B&M hypercoaster. I love this roller coaster. It seems to get better every time I ride it. The one thing I love about this coaster is the awesome operations, which usually leads to walk-on, queues when the crowds are on the lesser side, This coaster also gives an awesome night ride as it goes out and back into the woods. Anyways, this coaster features an awesome drop, many long floater hills in the first half, an awesome helix, and some strong floater airtime following the mid-course brake run. This coaster was pretty much as close to as smooth as can be last time I rode it, with the occasional rattle in some spots, but nothing bad at all. The only reason this coaster isn't higher is because I enjoy ejector airtime more than floater, but Nitro is great for what it is and is a great people eater for great adventure. Number 2, Jersey Devil Coaster. Taking silver, we have the park's newest ride, Jersey Devil Coaster, the park's custom RMC Raptor. Jersey Devil has sort of been a polarizing coaster thus far. A lot of people have been underwhelmed, but a lot of people have loved it like myself. Jersey Devil is probably one of the most unique coasters I've ridden as it delivers a different experience in almost every single seat. The front is pretty whippy and the back gets pulled through all of the elements. In the middle is kind of a mix. That drop in the back is my favorite drop on any coaster ever. The dive loop gives some nice floater on the way into it and some nice whip coming out of it. The giant camelback gives you ejector everywhere, and that stall is awesome and features some of the best hang time ever. I also love that 0G roll. The second half is pretty weak, or at least when I rode it, but it looks like it has improved greatly as the crew has gotten their timing down. So the trims aren't hitting that hard, if at all. Apparently those new wheels are helping out as well. So what I found to be a decent ending could be really good now. Overall, this coaster fits great in the park's lineup and is one of my favorite roller coasters. Number 1, El Toro. Taking the gold, you all guessed it, El Toro. Unfortunately, this coaster has been closed for a good portion of the 2021 season due to the incident involving a train derailing. But it appears that this will result in a major retrack that may actually make the ride smoother than before, or at least a good amount of track work will be done on the ride. Onto the actual ride experience. This coaster has 4 of the strongest moments of ejector airtime ever. The drop, the 2 massive camelbacks, and the rolling thunder hill. The rest of the elements are great filler elements that showcase floater airtime, some positives, and even some laterals here and there. The only main issue with this coaster that it could do better at is the smoothness factor. I found this coaster to be running pretty rough in 2020 to the point where it was a little uncomfortable. I think it could be a legitimate number 1 contender after they do the retracking, but until then, I'll be happy with the experiences I've had on it. Overall, Six Flags Great Adventure has one of the best coaster lineups out of any amusement park in the world. This list is a pretty tough one to sort out, but I would say that is a great problem to have. Do you guys agree with my picks? Make sure to tell me down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more countdowns coming soon. With that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.